8:56 on a Monday morning here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. We're still here.
We're back, as they say in Saturday Live, and we're back.
Wow, I guess there really is a cursive field, isn't there?
A lot of people believe so, based on the messages that have gotten.
I was a non-believer until that. That's been doing radio here. First year was Sundays in 2004, so 10 years.
You've never seen that happen, where everything just shuts down?
Oh, no, never. Never, Ira.
Hopefully you never do again.
Well, you know what?
We had one on Thursday for about a minute or less, 30 seconds.
Speaking of never, Ira, you should never count the Wolverines out. The Wolverines on the ice. You should never count them out. Facing a foe that many said they aren't going to beat that team. You know, undisputed champs of the Big Ten. They aren't going to beat that team. Well, Michigan did a great job over the weekend. Weren't able to hold on to the lead in the first one, but came back the next day in resounding fashion. And joining us to talk about that is Michigan assistant hockey coach Billy Powers. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah, so Coach, kind of went into it last week about just what a good team Minnesota was. They have everything. They have talent, they have scoring, defense, goaltending, and yet in that. Let's start off with the first game. And Ira kind of talked me through it as I was on the road down to the Big Ten tournament. But it was a game that really boiled down to not being able to hold on to the lead against a really good team.
Yeah, it was a good game for both teams on Friday night. I would tell you it was had all the feel of an NCAA game from bench side, that's for sure. I mean, you get two teams that can really get up and down the ice, and we really battled hard, and as did Minnesota, and we were right there. I think, you look at games like that, and we had a 2-1 lead, and you maybe look at, as always, you look back on different things, but that next goal, we had one or two real good chances to make it 3-1, and at that point, maybe that's a lead you hold on to or even build on, but we couldn't find the third goal. They tied it, and we couldn't kill a penalty in overtime, which was tough. But the resiliency, obviously, of what we needed to do the entire weekend was what we needed to focus on after what was definitely a tough loss Friday night.
Yeah, you talk about resiliency, having resolve, being able to stand up in moments of adversity. Last week, it seems like every week, whether it's you or Coach Wiseman, we talk about goaltending, and this was a weekend where Zach Nagelvoort really stood up and was counted against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country. He kept you in.
Yeah, it was good to see, Zach's game really in practice the last 2 or 3 weeks has really started to come back to the level it was, early in the season. And, we needed him, obviously, to battle back and to figure some things out. And we had seen some real good things in practice over an extended period of time. And then you hope as a coaching staff that, obviously it translates into the most important part of the game. And we thought Zach was solid all weekend. He looked good. He was confident, playing the puck well. So, as you say, I mean, we needed a great effort in that position. We got it. And more importantly, we've got quite a bit of confidence right now in Zach and as we move forward. So it was a good weekend for a goaltending situation.
And you talk about the goaltending, Coach, and really on Saturday night for the beginning of the game, before you guys were really able to get going offensively, which we'll get to that in a moment, Zach really seems like he kept you in the game.
Yeah, they came out flying, and I think they had an early power play where they got some real good chances, and Zach had to nail it down, and he did, and you're dead on, Ira. I mean, he had some key saves in that game in the first period Saturday before we could get going, and I think maybe it's, unfortunately you talk about, how you're going to bounce back Saturday, and you hope and expect that it'll happen in the first minute, but Minnesota's on the high from winning in overtime, and maybe we're still licking our chops or wounds a little bit, and Zach gave us a chance to kind of regroup, and once we got going, we were fine.
Let's dispel one of the myths that I heard coming out of that game on Saturday night. You guys put up 6 goals against their number 2 goalie. He doesn't play a lot. It was a senior night. They didn't really have anything to play for because they already clinched the number 1 seed. But I saw a lot of really good puck movement, a lot of good setups, both on the even strength and on the power play. And for that matter, you had the shorthanded goal that forget what would have gone across against a different goalie, but the way you guys played on Saturday, you could have beaten just about anybody. I don't care if they had their best goalie in there or not.
Well, like we've talked about, I think that, we needed to, to have that kind of a weekend and not just one game, and we felt really good, Friday too. But to your point, once we did get going Saturday, once again, we played a very, very good hockey game. And at this time of year, as you know, if you're not playing your A game, then you're not playing long. So, this is something that we've been searching or striving for, and we've had glimpses of it, but it was nice against a great opponent to have back-to-back games where, we're going into our Big Ten tournament, and, our team is coming off 2 real good efforts.
We're talking to Michigan assistant hockey coach Billy Powers here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. So, Billy, assess Mac Bennett's performance in his return. How big was he? How key was he?
Yeah, and a good point. It was great to have Mac back. It was senior weekend, of course, and it would have been tough for him to miss that, everything he's done for this program and being our leader. So it was great to have him back, not only in the locker room but on the ice. And Mac was really good. I think he probably wasn't up the ice as much as he's used to, just with the time off, just trying to kind of stay simple, keep things simple, and play smart. And as the weekend progressed and he got more confident, you saw him lugging the puck a lot more, which that's a big part of his game. But Mac is our best defenseman, arguably just about every night. So it was great to have him back, and I think it showed in our goals against. Never mind, I think Mac just being the leader and being in the room. And then what he's doing on the ice. Here we go with, a good weekend with goals against, and maybe that's a byproduct of having our captain and top defenseman back.
And maybe it's not something you discuss amongst the team, but I'm sure amongst coaches, you guys probably realized going into the weekend you needed at least one win to maybe put yourself in the right position with the pairwise rankings. Now you're sitting there at number 11 in the pairwise, 1 win against Penn State on Thursday in the opening round of the Big Ten hockey tournament. We'll get to that in a moment. But I'm sure you're feeling a little bit more confident now about where you want to be as far as getting to the postseason. Of course, you'd like to win the next 3 games, and then it doesn't even have this question come up. But I'm sure you guys are feeling a little more confident about your seeding and your solid spot in the tournament right now.
Yeah, I think, we feel good. We knew that this was a huge weekend, and whether it was winning 1 game or winning 2, we knew what we had to do. And, there's no question that, sitting at 11 and not 16 is much better. But, we're feeling that, there's a lot of upsets going on in college hockey if you look around, and a lot of these tournaments have 2 or 3 teams that are in the Final Four that aren't in the pairwise ranking. So, there's going to be quite a bit, there's going to be some upsets, and it started really early in the first round. You got to remember all of college hockey has already played their first round of the playoffs. So we saw quite a few teams eliminated. You saw Boston College, number 1 pretty much all year. They lost out in the quarterfinals to Notre Dame. And that doesn't mean that Boston College is going to go to the tournament, but that's what's happening around college hockey. The number 1 team in the country, or number 2 the entire season, isn't moving on to their conference tournament. So you're right, Ira. It's definitely better to be at 11, but I'd feel a lot better if we were 8 or 9, and we can do that this weekend. So, we'll move on to our next challenge, and this is our first, Big Ten tournament, and the regular season was not obviously what we had hoped for, and, we have a chance to redeem ourselves a little bit here, and we'll take it a game at a time, as you say. And obviously we will not be looking past, our group will not be looking past Penn State as our season. They beat us twice, and that, obviously they're a pretty good team and they match up well against us. So we're going to have to do some work this week to figure that out and come out Thursday, have our best game. The nice thing about our program is we're used to situations like this, and, the 1 game at a time and how you handle a tournament, whether it's 2 days or 3 days, I think we'll set things up with the right mentality, and then we'll see what happens on the ice. But we're excited. This is the first, Big Ten tournament situation, conference, obviously, for everyone who's involved in the league, and I'm looking forward to it, as our whole group is.
So, Coach, first ever Big Ten hockey tournament. It's pretty exciting stuff that you guys get to have that first game in it. I know you want 3 wins. What will it take for Michigan to come home with that first championship?
Well, it's obviously going to take a top weekend. We've, Penn State, as I said, you take it a game at a time. There is no Friday game if you're not at your best on Thursday. So, if we can come out, play really, really well on Thursday, because let's face it, this weekend coming up is going to be a momentum type weekend. And if you can get a good start Thursday, it usually carries through. If you're fortunate enough and you play well and you get to the third day, obviously, we may play a team that's only had to play 2 games. So we'll deal with that when it comes there. We just really would like to do whatever we can to get in that championship game. But we know that's the goal. If you can get to Saturday, then you have a chance. So that will be our entire focus. And, it starts, like you say, early. Thursday afternoon, which will be good. It'll be here before you know it.
All right, so Coach, let's close out talking about Thursday. You mentioned it. Penn State has played you well. Fans might just look at the standings and say, oh, they aren't very good. What is it about Penn State that has allowed them to play you guys so well this year?
Well, the one game down there was they jumped us pretty hard early, and it was again that Zach did not have his best outing. But again, they got up on us. We were on the road, and they came out, and we weren't as prepared as we should have been for, a home team bouncing back from a loss on Friday night. They kind of took us out of the game early, and then relied on their goaltender. And then, unfortunately, at Yost, they just kind of stuck around, and we get up a goal, and I think they tied it in the last minute, and won it in overtime. But what would take from that is this group at Penn State, they don't quit. They're scrappy. If you look at some of their games, in particular at home, even Minnesota, I think the scores are 3-2 and 4-2. They beat Ohio State Saturday night 4-2. It's just a team that plays with, they've done a great job as a group, and the chemistry must be outstanding, because you really, if you do get that team down, you got to really bury them, because they just have a resolve that they don't quit. So, Sam, to answer your question, it won't be easy. Like this will be a tough, close game, and that's what we'll be prepared for, because really that's what Penn State's played in most of the season. So we've just got to play 60, and play it to our best, because they're going to play 60 and they're going to bring it.
Outstanding analysis, Coach. Well, good luck. Obviously, first, congratulations on last weekend closing things out in the regular season in strong fashion against Minnesota. But good luck in your inaugural Big Ten tournament, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, guys, you have a great week. Thank you.
All right, that was Michigan assistant hockey coach Billy Powers. We aren't just talking about Big Ten tournament action on the hardwood and NCAA tournament action on the hardwood. You got some ice action as well, and they acquitted themselves well against the team that many consider to be top in the country. So good job by the Wolverines. Hopefully they can keep it up coming up on Thursday. We got to get to a break. When we come back on the other side, this is one of Ira's favorites. He gave you one of your favorite tournament moments, did he not, Ira?
He sure did, Sam. But we're not talking about that. We're going to have him break down the brackets. He's a national basketball analyst now.
You know you're going to have him mention that at least once. His buzzer beater.
I'll let you do that, Sam.
All right, we got to get to a break. We'll have Drew Nicholas from CampusInsiders.com helping us break down our bracket and also talking about his game winner, his buzzer beater back in 2003 when he was a Maryland Terrapin. We got to get to a break. Back on the other side here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA Ann Arbor Accumulate.